Welcome back. We now venture into uncharted territory on Biz Asia America's special edition Global Compass, the course ahead. These are the countries that are undergoing reform and are in transition. That leads to some economic uncertainty, some potential problems, and even some possible dangers ahead. We start in Mexico, where in recent years, Latin America's second largest economy has received extra attention because of its low wages and proximity to the American consumer. But analysts continue to say Mexico has room for plenty of growth if it plays its cards right. Franc Contreras is live with us in Mexico City with more. Frank?
Yes, thanks, Phil. That's been the word from the incoming government of President Enrique Peña Nieto. He took office back in December, as you'll recall. And of course, he was doing everything he could to paint a very optimistic picture here in the effort of drawing foreign investors, including the United States, of course, but also China. As the numbers started to come in later on, halfway through the first half of the year, the first quarter, and now halfway through the year, economic figures from the government itself seem to indicate that growth has not been that spectacular, and there are still some sluggish parts of the economy. Now, Mexican workers and the companies that employ them are doing everything they can to continue to draw the interest of foreign investors.
Mexican factories are set to ramp up their output. 80% of their exports go to the United States, but demand there for Mexican-assembled televisions, refrigerators, and even automobiles remains steady, but relatively low. As a result, this leading independent analyst says Mexico's economy is stagnant.
Output is not growing. Compared to last year, it is below. Sales of companies are below those of last year's, and expectations have been deflated considerably.
He cites the government's own figures, which show that housing construction is slowing. That's affecting domestic sales for the giant cement maker, Cemex. The administration of President Enrique Peña Nieto announced plans to expand the economy by increasing infrastructure projects. But economists consulted for this report say state and federal governments across Mexico are not paying suppliers on time, and that's also slowing growth. International investors know that wages in Mexico are now far lower than those in China, making Mexicans among the lowest paid workers in the world. Many workers here say they need 2 or more jobs to get by.
I'm not doing great economically, but what else can I do?
International governments and corporations are keeping a steady eye on possible energy reforms in Mexico later this year. They could open up investment opportunities in the petroleum and natural gas sectors. Meanwhile, nearly 60% of Mexico's entire workforce still depends on the informal economy to earn its daily bread. The government says most people do have a job, but many of those who are working say they're praying to the saint of lost causes, hoping to find better paying work.
Now, with new figures just out from the central bank, there's even less optimism at hand. That's because it appears that major construction companies now have reached an 8-year high and falling behind on paying off their credits to banks. Of course, that's not a good sign. But the Mexican government still is working hard to sell this country, and it's doing it on the basis of its low-wage labor. Phil.
Franc Contreras joining us live from Mexico City. Have a great weekend. Thank you very much.